This is the Instant Speed Podcast, episode 33. Our guests today will be Elaine Hammontree, Rachel Pope, Chalice, and Carolina Alvarado, who are wonderful cosplayers amidst the community. But before we get to that, again, I want to let you know that this episode, as always, is brought to you by FabDB.net, your premier source for deck building tools, collection management, and simulated booster drafting. Yes, upgrade your account at fabdb.net. Get access to all of those awesome features. And hey, check out all the other cool stuff like Techlo Labs. Why not? Wraith Times. There's all within the wonderful family of great stuff done by the FabDB people. All right, so let's get to the facts before we get to the wonderful guests. There's a lot to bust through, and the ProQuest season is just wrapping up, so you can go ahead and go to fabtcg.com, get some of the recap articles that are there. Maybe you've got some success. We've seen that Chain is slowly moving towards Living Legend in its own right, so that's pretty cool in itself. But after that, it has been leaked, ladies and gentlemen, that there is no rest for the wicked as RTN, yes, Road to Nationals season is starting on July 2nd through to the 24th. So right after ProQuest wraps up, we've got preseason stuff with Uprising, and then we've got RTNs. Ooh, and then we got Pro Tour again. Lots going on. But hey, before that, we've got the Uprising Premieres that are occurring between June 10th through to the 12th in various locations like Sydney, Madrid, and Las Vegas. I will be in Las Vegas, and I will have some swag to give out to some of you awesome people. So keep your eyes peeled on the on my Twitter account, and but some of the other cool stuff that's going on over there. Well, the Cosplay Contest. Yes, that very, very popular Cosplay Contest, which was won, the first one ever was won by Carolina Alvarado, doing Exude Confidence, which was stellar, if I may say so. But there's another one coming out, and you can get your hands on one of those wicked cool, super exclusive, top-tier Taylor cold foil cards that you can only get by being successful in the Cosplay Contest. So keep an eye on that. Spoiler season for Uprising. You've seen some leaks here and there about cards and such, but the actual official spoiler season will be June 4th through the 8th. Lots of incredible people have cards that they want to show you. People like Tannen Grace, even. I know. Believe it or not. There was no dig at Tannen in this episode, so we got to do it now. Tannen, I love you, buddy. But June 4th to 8th, I will be revealing my card on June 7th. So keep an eye on that. Beyond that, friends, well, the June armories have been announced for those little local tournaments, and the prizes and the swag available. As you can see it right here, some good stuff available for you guys to win over there. And lots of news today, I will say. Classic battles. The Rhinar versus Dorinthia Classic Battles Precon sets are releasing on May 27th. Now, today is May 25th, so we're going to be pushing that forward a couple days, but May 27th is when that comes out, and there have been cards leaked. I'll show you a little bit about those cards that have been leaked regarding the Classic Battles set. Some cool stuff for Dorinthia, some cool stuff for Rhinar. We have seen all the wonderful deliciousness that comes from that. And I want to give one more lovely, lovely shout out to our patrons, because we are collecting some more of these awesome people within the community. So to our wonderful patrons, our tier 3 patrons, I want to give you guys a shout out right here. Caleb, our newest tier 3 patron, welcome. I'll be sending something to you in the mail to say thank you. But Michael H., Ryan K., Kirk B., Tom R., Alaric C., Roger, and Andy T. Thank you so much. And if you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/instantspeedpod. We have 3 tiers, something that can get you a little bit more perks regarding the podcast and all the cool stuff we do. You guys really help us keep the lights on. So as low as $1 a month, you can go ahead and support the podcast, and it means the world to me. So cheers to you guys. But we got 3 phenomenal guests on the podcast. Sorry, count it. 4 bonus guests. Incredible. We have the wonderful cosplayers of the Flesh and Blood community, Elaine Hammontree, Rachel Pope, Chalice, and Carolina Alvarado, come to you on Instant Speed. There is no rest for the wicked, ladies and gentlemen, as the ProQuest season is slowly winding down. We know that the Uprising premiere is coming from June 10th to the 12th in various cities like Las Vegas and Madrid and Sydney, Australia. So there's new cards coming, but in the meantime, maybe you want to get one last lick in on the ProQuest season and go ahead and take one of those last spins with Starvo, or perhaps, use Chain to just push him over the edge and get him to Living Legend. Go to fabdb.net. upgrade your account to premium. You'll get access to the simulated booster drafting. Sure, that's cool, but how about all the deck building tools and collection management that you want to use? And yeah, there's all kinds of new sets and stuff coming out. You want to make sure that your collection is well-rounded, it is accurate, because you got trades, you got wants, you got needs. So go ahead and go to fabdb.net, upgrade your account to premium, get access to all of those awesome deck building tools, collection management, all of that stuff. fabdb.net, upgrade your account. You will not regret it. The Instant Speed Podcast is thrilled to welcome some of the heart and soul of the Flesh and Blood community. Together with many others, these cosplayers bring a vibrant joy and passion to the various events and tournaments and do a damn good job putting together some brilliant cosplay. This is ISP, and we've got Chalice, Elaine Hammondtree, Rachel Pope, and Carolina Alvarado. So welcome. How are you guys doing? Not all at once. Let's yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of politeness, and I get it. It's kind of a little bit of a crowded space. We can kind of go around the horn. We'll start with you, Carolina. How are things?
I'm doing amazing.
That's great.
Literally.
Chalice.
Hi. I'm really happy to finally be here.
Well, that's a good thing. I know that it's been a little while. I know that it's been a journey. There's a lot of people that we're hoping to get on the show, but you were definitely on the radar. But I figured, you know what? It's going to be, there's so many cosplayers, again, from the Pro Tour, so I want to get as many as possible on here without it being a little bit too much of a crowded space. But Elaine, Elaine, who was, I guess the biggest struggle that she had was not ProQuests. It was actually the microphone on on this entire endeavor. But how are you, Elaine?
I'm good. Now that my microphone's working, I feel better. I'm sorry for the delays.
Oh, don't worry. Apologies are for me. I'm the Canadian here, so don't worry about it. And Rachel, how about yourself? I know you're amidst a little bit of a plethora of little dogs, and you've got your own little sort of.
Yes, it's basically a petting zoo. I mean, upstairs I also have my rabbits and my lizard. So, I do have an Instagram called the Pope's Petting Zoo for me to curate all my pet posts because there's just so many.
Okay, well, there's a joke there that I'm not going to make, but it's all good. I'm sure everyone can kind of piece it together in their minds.
That would be a little. Let's not do that.
No, not at all. Absolutely not. No, this is an on-the-level professional podcast broadcast.
Is it really?
Not in the least, but we try. Again, fake it till you make it, right? So we're going to kick this off with just doing a little bit of the origin story, as it were, as it's your first time, everybody, on the program here. And just talk a little bit about your, your venture into cosplay in general, but also specifically Flesh and Blood and how you kind of got Flesh and Blood on your radar. So we'll start with you, Rachel. Why not? Let's just start with you. So your little origin story, as it were, all the way through your cosplaying, to Flesh and Blood.
All right. Well, I mean, growing up, I have to say, and I still am the same way, Halloween is my absolute favorite. And I was always like, why don't we do this more? And then when I got older and found out that cosplay was a thing, I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's just Halloween, but whenever you want it, all the time. I have a little bit of kind of different background I just like playing dress up. I went and did dress up professionally. I modeled in New York and London. I had agencies in both countries before COVID. I lost my international contracts because of visa stuff and COVID, and I couldn't travel, and it was like, I wish I had a cooler intro to Flesh and Blood other than just my boyfriend started showing me the art, and I was like, wow, that's really pretty. And then he was like, haha, now I can get her to play the game. But that's kind of what happened. I mean, I've always been into games. I played Pokemon and all of that growing up. But yeah, so Dozer, the Prism guy, as people were calling him at Pro Tour, he got me into actually playing the game, and I play Lexi. And I didn't know about the cosplay contest until the night before a Pro Tour. And so that's how my cosplay happened. Shout out to Elaine and her friends for helping me with my trip to Party City and Walmart. It was a pretty fun night. When I showed David all the supplies, he was he didn't think it was gonna be good, but then it far exceeded any expectations, and he said he'll never underestimate my craftiness again.
I dig it. That's not bad. I mean, especially with the big assist from the Walmart Corporation for just rescuing you there.
Yeah, shout out to Walmart for being within walking distance of the hotel.
Yes, thank you. Also, thank you to Walmart for employing me for 10 months when I was 16. Thank you for that. That was great to do on
We're gonna
weekends.
get you a Walmart sponsorship from this.
Yeah, okay.
Walmart,
Yeah.
No.
what's their motto again?
Their motto is underpay you and make you work your ass off and do unsafe
Oh
things.
my gosh, it's just like Target. Woo.
Yeah, no,
Woo!
easily. How about yourself, Chalice? Because you've been doing this for a while, specifically with Flesh and Blood. But why don't you just kind of let us know about what your first cosplay was for Flesh and Blood, and what sort of led you to pick that as your source material, as it were.
Sure. So, my first Flesh and Blood cosplay was Azalea, specifically the young hero version of her. I had started, like, I picked up trying to play Azalea at the time, and I was looking at the card art, and I just thought, hey, I will have a go trying to recreate this, because I was kind of like in a creative kind of like slump at the time. I do cosplay in my free time, like as a hobby, and I was trying to find some inspiration for what I should do next. And I was just looking at the card art. I was like, "Hey, she seems pretty cool. I'm gonna do my best to like throw together a and like inspired look for her, because I didn't do like any of her weapon. Like I didn't do the death deal. I didn't try and attempt to do any of the serious armor. I just thought, let's have a go and see how it goes. And it really just kind of exploded from there. Like the community was so welcoming to see like more cosplay content that I was like, oh my god, I'm hooked. I want to do more. And then I just picked another hero, and then we went from there.
So your most recent one that you've tossed out there was I believe the Crown of Reflection, right?
Oh yeah, my favorite one.
But you've got more coming down the pipe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But it's secretive. All right, we'll dig that one out of you a little bit later. I'm not going to press too much, but
Oh,
If-
sorry.
Oh, no,
wanna
I didn't-
interrupt.
this is a-
wanna
I was-
raise my hand and
I was gonna
say
say-
that I totally internet stalked Chalice and was like obsessed with all of it. Especially the Azalea one. I just sat there like staring at it for like probably way too long, like to a point where it's probably a little creepy. But it was really fantastic, and I just wanted to compliment you on that.
Thank you. That's so lovely. Thank you.
you get that like 3 a.m. like on like an Instagram post from like 4 months ago, and you're like, oh,
Who's that?
okay, yeah,
It's
some.
me.
Those are
This
the
is
those are the
petting zoo.
creepy ones, yeah. And then exactly.
Rachel, sleeping.
I do admit, I did the exact same thing.
Well-
I
Guys,
did
this
the
is
exact same thing.
I mean,
Thank you.
usually, like, at what point is it just that there's somebody that you see that inspires you? And like, we'll go to you, Elaine, on this because yourself, you did Icelander at Pro Tour. Is that your first cosplay?
In my adult life, yes. So like in middle school, my friends convinced me to go to like this local, very small, like 50-person anime convention where I'm from. And me and my friend did like Kiki and Gigi, for like Kiki's delivery service. I was Gigi, I was the cat. And so I did nothing except like dress as a cat and meow on stage the whole time. But we won the whole thing. And so then like after that I kind of got into like I LARPed up for a while, but not like seriously. And then like Rachel, like Halloween has always been my absolute favorite holiday. I love making my costume every year. I plan for it all year. And then we got my boyfriend's like always played Magic, and he started playing Flesh and Blood when Monarch came out. He had like been playing in the height of COVID. He bought a like a Dash like pre-built Blitz deck and an Azalea one, and he gave me Azalea, and we were like trying to learn it. It did not go well. I did not stick with it. He stuck with it. And then one day I started going to tournaments with him and like just playing my Animal Crossing on Switch in the corner. And I was like, this actually looks cool. I want to get back into this. And he came home from work one day and I was like in full Icelander makeup. And he's like, okay, what are you doing? What's happening? You're fully addicted. And I was like, I love like the art on this card. This girl's makeup, she looks so cool. I'm obsessed with it. And I just had to recreate it. And then that was like, I had posted it on the Flesh and Blood Reddit and it got some traction. And then I started like slowly just putting all the pieces together and making it. And so it was like my first like real like official, like I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to this because this is just like so beautiful to me, cosplay, but not my first time like doing crazy stuff like this.
Now, the winner of the cosplay contest is there was some strategic like best for last. It's not necessarily best. There was so many great costumes there. I mean, even people like Mansant, who was supposed to be on but couldn't get time. He was supposed to be on this as well. I mean, what an awesome portrayal of Levia, and somebody who's just so dedicated to that one hero. But the winner of the cosplay contest, doing exude confidence in the most badass freaking way ever, is you, Carolina, and just walk us through a little bit about how you landed on exude confidence. As that sort of your inspiration for what you wanted to cosplay, and if there was anything else that you were kind of thinking about in terms of what you wanted to do, and like, let's be real, Rachel was like, all right, there's a Walmart there, and I've got 4 hours, so let's bust out some like magic here, which was pretty damn awesome in itself. But for yourself, for the winning cosplay, how far? First of all, what's the lead time on this? Like, walk us through from conception in your mind that you want to do this, and how you landed on that, and the process of how long it took.
So, origin. I wanted to cosplay since I started playing the game, but I've been so scared, like terrified. First thing I ever wanted to cosplay was Levia, actually. And then I saw Chalices and I said, yeah, no, I can't beat that. So then I ended up just forgetting the idea, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to play. That's just going to be my thing. I'm just going to play. That's my only thing. But then I saw the Taylor card and I said, I want that so bad. Like now.
Like now.
Yeah. And so I ended up, I didn't even have to think about what I was going to cosplay. At that point, I was almost a year. I'm still not even a year into the game, but it was a few months ago. So I'm like, I know exactly what I'm cosplaying. It's exude confidence. It is the art that I connected to the most, and so fast, because I like hot girls. that was my only reason.
Like, what am I going to say to that? I mean, like, deny it? Like, no, that's definitely like, there's just...
I remember a month before I started, I tweeted, I want her so bad, bro. And it was just a picture of her. It was just a picture of her.
I can't argue with that logic. Like, when David just showed me, like, he has a bunch of decks, and when he was trying to get me to play the game, he, like, laid out all the characters, and I was like, I like that one. She's pretty, and that's why I picked Lexi.
I was my first hero because I thought, oh, she's pretty. There you go.
Same reason why I played the Azalea deck. I was like, I like her. She's pretty.
Exactly. That's how Elaine and I bonded over, like, the aesthetics of the game. Like,
that is, yeah.
I absolutely love the aesthetics of just everything, and that's the reason why I picked up the game, because, like everyone else, my boyfriend, we actually got into the game together. We got into the game at the exact same time, but he didn't really have to convince me after showing me 2 starter Monarch decks. Like, he's like, here, I got you, Levia, start it. And I said, ooh, she's hot. Okay, thanks. But I started immediately, and I got very competitive. Very, very competitive. My boyfriend hates playing with me because I get so mad when I lose.
So it's more so of a thing of like, there's the fear of not the fear of losing necessarily, but the consequence of losing. Sometimes it's just, I mean, fear could be definitely a factor. And I was actually wanted to talk about the inspiration in terms of what kind of motivates you to choose a character. And I think we've kind of answered that question. You've all, I think, for the most part, have echoed the same thing of she's pretty, so that's why I chose her. Are there any other factors that kind of, influence what leans you towards, embarking on this endeavor? Like, because it's clearly an investment. It takes time, it takes money, it takes, skill and effort to put these together. So it's not something that it's not a decision that you're going to take lightly if you have to invest, hundreds of dollars in materials and hours of time and such to get things together. Clearly there's something that is, leading you to saying, like, this is my next mission. Now, obviously, she's pretty is what I think all of you have said, but there's like, is there any other, determining factors when you're trying to decide something? Chalice, you can kind of kick this one off.
Yeah, so for me, I think I started off by doing like Azalea, an Icelander based makeup look, and then the Levia one. And then I think when I went on to do Crown of Reflection, I wanted to try a completely new challenge where I wanted to focus more on like crafting a specific object, so like the crown. And at the same time, I wanted to like just improve my photography skills as well, because I felt like the art for that card, the way it was so special was because like the mood of the art, how it felt. And I wanted to focus more on just like challenging like my crafting skills and my photography skills. So in a way, that was like a personal goal for me to further. And I think I did okay with that picture. I definitely improved some stuff I set out to do. So that was like personally quite rewarding for me.
It was very photorealistic, you know, like you can,
Thank you.
well, I mean, you can jam that picture of yourself with the Crown of Reflection cosplay and jam it actually onto the card. And it's really damn close. I mean, like you seemed like the source material of where the art came from. Like somebody just kind of reproduced it. So that was really, really well done. And I mean, we all have different levels here of where we are in terms of how many cosplays we've done, kind of, you know, it's weird for me to say. I'm not very well versed in this whole world. So if I'm using the incorrect term, please correct me here. But like there's, you know, pros, that professional, there's amateur, there's kind of people who are just doing it for the first time. But I mean, it's easy to say that everyone's kind of like, you've kind of got your own styles, as it were. And I want to ask you all, Elaine, we could start with you on this one, but just where does your style fit into how you do a cosplay? Is there any room for your own kind of little, you know, your own take on something, or is the mission more so to be as true to the material as possible, as accurate as possible?
So for myself personally, I would say that my mission is to be as accurate as possible, because I'm a very competitive person, like Carolina said, and I have to admit I really like a challenge. So like that was sort of also what drew me to Icelander. So I just saw like her face and her makeup, and I was like, I want to know if I can recreate this. Like this looks difficult to do, so I want to do it. So mine was more like accuracy, but the more I've started to like explore other cosplay like endeavors in the future, I will say there's been times, which I don't want to give any new or upcoming cosplays away, but I'm like, this would be a fun like twist to do on this character, like kind of reimagining, trying to put my own style into things. But up to this point, it's been like an accuracy thing for me. And
Rachel, I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. If it comes to actually like jamming some style into something, the Oldham granddaddy of, what was it, like granddaddy like of like
sexy Oldham granddaddy of eternity.
Boom, that was it exactly. I'm like, yeah, there's accuracy was definitely secondary on this one, but damn, was it pretty. It was cool. And like, let's be real. What did James say about it?
So when I stepped out for my photo, I just hear him. He like half whispered it. He goes, "Is that Oldham?" And in my head, I was like, "Yes, he got it!" Like. We did. I mean, 4 hours is probably a pretty accurate representation of like the amount of time it took between like going to the stores and then the next morning that I spent on that. So when it came to that cosplay specifically, there was just more of what can I do in this time frame, and I was like, well, it's not gonna be accurate, and it's not gonna be like beautifully crafted the way it would have been if I had taken the time that I normally would have to prepare something like that. So I was like, what can I do that will at least like be a moment?
Wow.
And I was looking through all the heroes and I was like, what if I just and yeah, fishnets with the Santa looking character. I felt like that was the move. And I have to say I was very pleased that like walking around like that people like knew what I was supposed to be. Some people asked me, they're like, what? And then I said sexy Oldham and they were like, oh my God. I'm like, you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You catch Oldham on vacation, red light district. That might be exactly what you see. Yeah, yours might be the most accurate. We just do not know.
After dark, like, you know, in the Arctic when it's dark for like half the year.
Yeah.
You know, that's him, is what I imagine.
All right.
He's like,
it's so Oldham. Good, though. I have to ask, though.
Oldham of the night?
Oh my God.
That's Shadow Oldham right there. That would definitely be the Shadow Oldham. No more elemental. It's all shadow play there. The other thing I had to ask specifically to you, Rachel, is that Ram's Head or is that Stalagmite? because it was I know it's a baking sheet or something, but it was
Yes.
pretty awesome.
It was kind of like just a mush of them too. It's a baking sheet with that's painter's tape to be the little like stone on it. And then I carried just an actual mallet that I bought from Walmart. I put a little silver
That's
scrunchie on
smart.
to like give it a little pizzazz.
Hey, and this, if anyone out there who's saying it's like, well, I want to be a cosplayer, but I don't have the skills of, let's say, you know, like the top notch. Like at the Pro Tour, there was Olivia Gobert Hicks, who was she was going to be on, but she had some scheduling issues, and but I mean that Prism was amazing. Chalice does incredible work as well, and then there's you, Carolina, who won the whole thing on.
And it's my first cosplay.
Well, and it's probably not your last, right?
Definitely not. It took me so long. It took me upwards of 80 hours. 80 to 100 hours. I still haven't like actually put it together. I do know the week before, I didn't sleep for 5 days because I was freaking out about not being able to finish it. And I ended up going to the airport, realizing I forgot half of my costume at my house.
Hold on a second. So wait, you left and flew out with half of your jam all the way back and home?
Yeah. I ended up leaving my Dremel tool, so I couldn't even make another one. I ended up leaving half my headpiece, a bunch of other stuff, and I freaked out. I almost started crying, and then I got to the hotel and I saw a Sam's Club. And I said, "Let's go, Walmart! Let's go!" Because they had a Dremel there for $20.
Honestly,
So,
if they're not sponsoring this podcast after this episode, there's something
well,
wrong.
I'll talk to
Clearly.
them.
At Walmart.
But I ended up going to that Sam's Club and buying that plus a pizza, obviously. Bought that Dremel, went across the bridge because there was a Michael's there. Thank you. So I ended up walking an hour just to get supplies to remake everything. Absolutely everything. And I didn't finish it until the night before at 2:00 in the morning. And as soon as I finished it, I cried because I put so much time and effort into it because I've never worked with foam before. I've never made a costume before, ever in my entire life, which is so weird because my grandmother makes costumes. Like, lore. I'm a circus performer. I'm an acrobat. Yeah, your faces.
What? I mean, that's super cool. Like, what?
So I'm a 6th generation aerialist, and so that costume was actually very comfortable for me, which is also one of the reasons why I chose it, because it's basically like I'm comfortable showing leg. Yeah, give it to me. But so I've never made a costume like that before, and my grandma has never taught me how to make a costume. Never taught me how to use a sewing machine. Also brought my sewing machine with me to New Jersey. Very surprised that my luggage was not over the weight limit. But when I finished it, I actually cried. I cried because it was my first everything ever. And I was so proud of myself. And I was very tired.
So that leads me to, I guess I can ask you all this, is the fact that these are obviously projects that you put a lot of emotion into, you put a lot of effort, especially, I mean, just yourself saying you worked 80 to 100 hours, plus whatever, panic moves of at the end of just this last race to get to the finish line. Do you guys ever feel that, do you all feel that perhaps when you're done with a cosplay that it's finished or it's abandoned? There's a famous quote from, I say it's George Lucas who created Star Wars. I always have to bring it back to Star Wars at some point, but he mentioned that films are never finished; they're just abandoned. And I'm wondering if that can be said about your cosplay as well. So let's go with you, Elaine, first. You're just starting out in this, or you've done cosplays before, but do you feel that when you're like, all right, this is what I'm presenting, is it finished for you, or you're just saying that this is as good as I can do with the time, and you know what, maybe we revisit it, but it's not finished? I'm just curious how you feel when you're at that end phase of demonstrating and showing it off.
This one. And the Icelander one, which was like I said, my first cosplay, like showing off to people, it was definitely like an abandoned feeling because I didn't know I was going into New Jersey until Sunday, and I left Wednesday. And I had like started the Icelander cosplay, and then when I had the realization, like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to go to New Jersey, like this is just not a reality for me, I had abandoned it. And then I got the surprise that like, oh, congrats, we're helping you pay for your trip to New Jersey. You're gonna be there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving Wednesday, and I really want to do the cosplay contest, and I have this like half done Icelander cosplay. So I had like 2 days to finish it. Plus I worked those 2 days, like full days. I worked those 2 days. So I was like staying up. I didn't sleep. I was like staying up trying to finish it. My sewing machine broke. I like had it half on me, like hot gluing things to myself because I had to do the whole thing hot glue. And I was like, so many burns.
Yeah,
but,
that's a safety
I
tips.
gotta get this done.
Instant Speed presents safety tips. Yes, absolutely. So make sure that when you're using hot molten glue, that it's directly pressed against your body. Do not do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elaine.
No, it's just the sacrifices, you know. So this one, it was just like I didn't have time to like go to the store to get new material. So like the material I used to get like the ice to stand up was just like gardening wire that I like had, and I like wrapped fabric around it, and was like just like even the night I got to New Jersey, like the first time I was there, I was like, Rachel, will you come to Walmart with me? Because I need stuff to finish this cosplay. Because like I didn't have anything. I forgot my contacts. So it was definitely like an abandoned feeling for this specific one.
Yeah, I mean, I literally was like this. I'm walking in and I'm like, this isn't done. This isn't done. I forgot to cut this. I should have hemmed this. I should have done this. It was like, oh, I hated it. I hated it so much. And my costume fell apart 3 times throughout the day.
Oh my gosh.
I had contact cement in my deck bag because I kept gluing myself back together.
Get that Humpty Dumpty syndrome going on.
Yeah, I kept gluing myself back together. I would sit down. My actual like belt, I put Velcro on it so it could just Velcro on top. The Velcro broke off, so I just glued it to my body. Glued it straight to my body.
The Elaine maneuver, for sure.
Yeah.
I think Elaine also mentioned that to secure your wig, just staple it directly to your scalp. Like that's also something definitely from the book of Elaine moves as well, right, Elaine?
I had no bobby pins. I had no bobby pins, and I ended up finding 2 on the floor, and I said, yes!
Okay, girl, like text me next time.
Loot.
I have bobby pins. I have safety pins. I have bobby pins.
I have a survival pack in my bag, like literally. So fun fact, my beard wasn't a beard. Party City didn't have beards, which was like ridiculous. So I just got a wig and a long wig, and I like put it up against my chin, and just like I had so many pins and clips holding that wig. Yeah, like essentially like holding it up here. Like there was so much metal on my head right over my ears.
Yeah.
Just message us. Cosplayers will help. I would have given you. I had a bag full of bobby pins.
I had a bag of bobby pins and safety
myself.
What about you?
Like everyone takes me.
What about you, Chalice? Because I would imagine that, I mean, yours are incredibly intricate and like almost, like I said, photorealistic. And at a certain point, all the cosplays are great. Let's get real here. But at a certain point, like you mentioned, you just got to say like, all right, this is it. Like there was no contest for you. So there was no time limit or there was no deadline as, Carolina, Elaine, and Rachel had to deal with at that event. It's like, at a certain point, it's like, shoot, the time's running out. And if I can't staple this wig to my chin, I'm gonna have to go find like a raccoon somewhere and just and just wear it. So, but for yourself, Chalice, do you feel like they're finished products, or are they something that it's like it's good enough?
Maybe it's really cynical of me, but like I don't ever feel like I've reached a stage where I'm like, okay, I'm 100% done with this. I'm happy with it. It doesn't matter if you've got like a week's notice or like a year's notice. You will always, up until the very end, be putting together something last minute, or you'll feel like you haven't done it exactly how you want it to do. And you just have to get over that feeling, unfortunately, because a lot of the time it's all in your head. The average person isn't going to notice all of the little things you've missed or like how you've decided to fasten something. But I understand why we all think that way, because we all are trying to achieve that level that we have like personal satisfaction with, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's part of the whole experience, especially going to a convention, to have like those last minute things and like something's falling apart. That's always going to happen. That's part of the fun. Part of the unexpected nature. But yeah.
I can draw some. Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to specifically compliment you on your photography and like set design of that reflection cosplay. As someone who worked as a stylist and photography assistant with creative directors and stuff, like when I saw that, I was like, this is just beautiful. Like you could put that, like you could print that as an editorial in a magazine. I mean, it was just stunning.
Thank you.
Like it really, like the work that you put into those skills specifically, because obviously the cosplay itself was beautiful, but like if you had photographed it in another way, it wouldn't have been as breathtaking. So I just really wanted to emphasize that those other skills really shone through. And hearts, just sending love.
Thank you.
Are you recording? I don't even know.
Oh, they were great. They were so good. Yeah, we're recording so those hearts are definitely gonna be that's yeah. Let's all do it at once here. This is good. This could be one of the this can absolutely be like the thumbnail for
there we go. Everyone
boom.
do it.
There we go. Thumbnail acquired. But it's funny because like you mentioned, Chalice, you're saying it's you put in, whether it's a week or a year, you always feel like you're kind of coming up short in certain elements. And it's funny because like the parallel to that is what I know better is playing the card games, at a competitive level where you're talking and you see like you're talking with some of the pros and they'll finish, second in Pro Tour and they'll be like, I played like shit and I lost, and it's a wasted endeavor. But to everyone else, it was like almost flawed. I made a couple mistakes here and there over the course of the weekend, and but for us who's taking in this, it's like, damn, like this is like, these are great, these are amazing, and some of the elements that people might not know about that you guys probably know all too well are sort of like the hidden pitfalls and hidden challenges surrounding it. And it's not just about inspiration, which you clearly all have. It's also things that you'll have to manage, like expense and how much does this stuff cost? How long does it take to put together? Acquiring the skills of, for instance, Carolina, you said, I've never worked with foam before. And then there's Elaine, who's clearly never worked with a glue gun before because she's applying it directly to her body, which I do not recommend. Again, please. It's okay.
I've done that as well. It's fine. We can do that.
Yeah. Once the nerve endings evaporate, nothing hurts anymore.
Exactly. I've been doing it for years. It's fine.
Let's go back to you, Chalice, on this one. In terms of expense and skill set and just acquiring the skills and such, what could you explain to people who might not have that kind of backstage pass to the whole cosplay process of these? Because some people are like, okay, you just need to find the material, slap it together, and look good doing it. But there's so much more about that. So can you just sort of pull the veil on a lot of the pitfalls of cosplaying, like things like expense? Like what, for example, let's say the Leviah costume or the Crown of Reflection. Like what does something like that cost, and what is the time frame to go from from start to finish, and some of the skills that you have to acquire on that process?
I like the way you pick those two ones, because those are really good examples actually of like really opposite things. So the Levia one is like none of that is crafted by me. That's all stuff that I've bought or like thrifted. So that's a perfectly valid way of doing cosplay. You don't have to make anything yourself. You can just go out and buy whatever. But having that eye to be able to be like, okay, that kind of matches what this character's wearing, and if I pair it with this, it's going to look great. And the Leviah picture is a lot to do with lighting and atmosphere. So if you're just taking pictures as opposed to going to a convention, you can put that in a photography format as opposed to a physical like costume format. So that didn't really cost me too much. That's just like stuff I picked up secondhand. And the Crown of Reflection one, it's funny because like the crown is the only thing I was wearing, because it's not really a costume per se. I didn't have to like craft any outfit because it's Gundam. So the crafting aspect, that is foam, like EVA foam. So that can cost any like amount of money you have to put in. Like depends on like the quality of foam, but that is more of a time consuming thing. So cutting it out, dremeling it, sanding it down, priming it, painting it, like after glazing it, like there's so many steps, and I think like time is like the biggest expense in a way for all of these things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
And everything, almost, I'd like to say like 70% of my entire costume was made out of foam.
Foam's great.
Everything. I had to Dremel absolutely every single thing, heat gun, everything. Make sure it was to the size I wanted it, and I am very detail oriented. So it was never good. It was never good.
But Carolina, you mentioned that this was your first cosplay, right? So did you have any anticipation in terms of like what something like this would cost and the time it would take? Not to mention, as you're going from, idea in your mind that this is something you want to do, how many times did you have to sort of hit a sort of, not like a wall, but like you hit like this roadblock or this challenge where you're like, I don't know how to do this, so I need to learn how to do this. And then you cross that bridge, and suddenly there's a new piece that you need to figure out of like, okay, glue on the material, not on my body. Again, that's an Elaine thing.
No, we're not following that rule.
Okay, all right. Sure. But how many times did that occur for you? Like, because as your first cosplay, there was certainly a lot of firsts for you, and how many of them were surprises?
So I told myself I wasn't going to redo anything twice. Well, which I did it until I got to New Jersey. But I told myself I wasn't going to just redo anything. That was going to be what it is. And if it looks bad, then maybe I'll redo it. But I don't have time to redo my belt 5 times in order to get it perfect. So it's one or done. I spent so much money. Mostly on fabric. It got so bad to the point where I got into my car today and my GPS told me go to the craft store. Like I was going to the craft store nonstop for like 3 weeks. But I don't know. I think like Chalice said, time is more expensive. Like I am spending more time than money. But yeah, it's very, 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 very expensive to start cosplay. And I did do a lot of research before I even started. Like it even took me 3 days just to muster up the courage to start. Mm-hmm. Like it's time. Time is more expensive than the money I spent.
I mean, one thing I'd bring up, obviously it's expensive. As someone who has ordered less than 24 hours, I've ordered 5 wigs online. So I'm not telling you guys what they are, but you can all guess. There's 5 wigs. Take a guess in the comments what color you think they are. Them. But the other cost I want to bring up as an introvert, which a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think as someone who's been in the entertainment industry. I mean, I worked professionally as a model since I was 16. I'm extremely introverted. That doesn't mean I don't like being social. I love being social. I'm just gonna go faceplant into my bed at the end of the day. And I love doing events. And I loved when I was in cosplay, people asking to take photos. Like I never want anyone to think like, oh, I don't want to like bother someone because like what if it like exhausts them? It exhausts me, but I love it. That's like a whole nother like emotional cost that some people might not be prepared for when they go to events, because if you like spend a month or 2 or however long you spend on your cosplay and you've got this banging costume, like people are going to be talking to you all day about it. And so this wasn't like as much of a problem with the Flesh and Blood community because it's pretty great. I have to say shout out to like everyone, but like other crowds of people in different circumstances, sometimes they have expectations of you just because you are a cosplayer or an entertainer or whatever, that they kind of can be entitled and not very nice to you because they treat you more like you are a character and not a human. So I have to say once again, shout out to Flesh and Blood for not being like that. But when it comes to other events, like other big conventions, that would be something to keep in mind. Just that it's a possibility to be like mentally prepared for that kind of experience.
Yeah, I did. As soon as I walked into that convention center, I did not stop taking pictures.
Yep.
I would sit down because I was playing The Calling too. I was playing in The Calling in my cosplay, which is kind of uncomfortable. But I would sit down And either my opponent would ask me, hey, whenever we're done, can we take a picture? Or someone would come to my table and say, hey, whenever you're done, can we take a picture? I would always say yes, because I'm comfortable with that. I've been in the entertainment industry since I was born. Like, I'm fine with taking pictures. I'm so comfortable with that, but not everybody is comfortable with that. And not a lot of not a lot of people know boundaries, but these people do. And
That's what I wanted to get in at next, actually, is, and I think it's very important to sort of end this discussion on this point, is fan interaction, because for those who are just starting out, or those who are well versed and well experienced in this space of cosplay and etc., I mean, it can get uncomfortable, I would imagine, doing what you do and being out there amidst the crowds of people. And everybody has their own way of dealing with crowds in general. I mean, like you mentioned, Rachel, you're an introverted person, though you do work as in a sort of industry or in a business, or you have experience in a business where people are going to be, their eyes are going to be on you and the attention is going to be on you. I'm the same way. I mean, this is my job. This is my career. It's to be a broadcaster, is to have people listen to what I'm saying and see what I'm doing. And I also feel like I don't want to say I'm an introvert, but I like my privacy and I like to have time to myself. And in certain cases, I want to, like you mentioned, just go to the hotel room, smash on the bed, and just like forget about life until 7 a.m. the next morning when I got to be up and ready to go.
And it feels so good.
Oh, of course. Damn right it does.
So good.
And but at the same time, I love when people come up to me and say, hey, I appreciate what you do, or hey, can I, speak to you, or say, and just to tell me a little bit about themselves. But there have been interactions, even with myself, of people who say inappropriate things, approach in the wrong way, and feel either immensely entitled that you're a novelty and you're here for their enjoyment, for their for them to consume in however way they want to, pardon my language. And that to me is like the biggest turnoff of just the entire experience and the entire event in general. We'll start with you, Elaine, but when it comes to fan interaction, there's obviously a way that people should approach these situations, and you're there obviously in the cosplay because you're celebrating the event and you're expecting for people to take notice and to appreciate what you're doing. But just talk about your experience at Pro Tour, the positives, the negatives, or whatever, about being, because when you're there as a cosplayer, you are essentially a pseudo celebrity at that event. You're promoted in a way. I mean, Chalice, you've been promoted by of being at these events as, Chalice is going to be here. She's going to be cosplaying. It's going to be awesome. It's the same with Olivia Gobert Hicks, who did the same thing at these events as Prism, and just being that focal point of the celebration. How do you handle that? And talk a little bit about the experience of having people coming up to you.
Okay, yeah. So New Jersey was a very different experience for me, being in cosplay, being at an event. I didn't realize that the Cosplay Contest was going to be during the calling. And as much as I love the cosplay, like, I'm a player first and foremost. So I decided I was not going to participate in the Cosplay Contest. And I was like, well, I just spent 3 days cramming this cosplay together, so I'm going to wear it. So I decided to wear it on Friday. And I went on Friday. I got dressed. I woke up at like 5 in the morning because it took me like 2 hours to get into that makeup. And I was just like, I'm just going to go. I'm not going to play any side events. I'm just going to walk around, like, see my friends, hang out, because I also did not want to play a calling in that Icelander costume. I mean, it was like, Rachel, like, helped me put it on. It was like corset, garden wire sticking out, hot glue everywhere, like, full wig. Plus you had to wear, like, the mask. So it was like, this is how much of my body is showing when I am in Icelander cosplay. And still this is, like, full of makeup. So when I got there, I was like walking over. I was like very nervous because I was like, no one's gonna be in cosplay because this isn't this isn't the day the cosplay event's happening. So I knew I was just gonna like stick out like a sore thumb. I was texting Rachel. I was like, I feel like an idiot walking over here. I'm not gonna lie. It's like cars were honking at me, and I was like, And then I got there and like people were coming up to me, taking pictures. It was really nice. I didn't have any bad interactions. I was just like exhausted because it was like 24/7, just people taking pictures, and people kept asking like, "Oh, are you on staff?" Because I got there early, so like the actual cosplayers weren't there yet. So I was like the only person at the convention center in cosplay. And yeah, it turned some heads, and I got a lot of attention and a lot of pictures, which was very nice. No bad interactions from anyone. Everyone was very nice. But I remember like at one point, all my friends were either playing in side events or like in the pro tour. So I went and I like sat down. And I was like, I haven't eaten today. Like I'm exhausted. I've taken a bunch of pictures. I'm also very introverted. So that was like very, it was a lot for me. I like sat down. I like pulled out my pickle almonds, and I went to like eat like
Pickle almonds, girl.
Hold on. I'm pumping the brakes on this real hard right now. I met Elaine in the hotel lobby of the Harmony Suites outside of the like the venue. One of the first things I learned about Elaine, like I was, because Elaine it plays at a lot of the same places that Tannen Grace plays at, and so when I was hanging out with Tannen, and Tannen's like, "Oh, there's some of my LGS, people. Let's go say hi." So I didn't know many of them. I knew one. I knew Brozak. So I went to go say hi to Brozak because I'd never met him in person, but we've chatted a lot. And then I met you. I met a whole bunch of other people, and it was hilarious because they were all immensely nice. But the one thing that they kept saying was like, "Oh yeah, like Elaine's always annoying because while we're at major events, like everyone's like busting out like a granola bar or like M&Ms or something, and she's just there like double fisting pickles because she likes pickles." And I'm like, how, like, and then I'm like, dude, it's like, imagine just showing up with like a rack of ribs and like your and then being like, "Can I read this card?" Like just like looking at it, just being there, like, I'm like, like, what does this say? And you're like there with it, like, and just like holding it on. So yeah, like that's and then sorry to continue this, is the Elaine and the pickle thing goes beyond standard pickles. It's everything pickles.
Pickles.
And
I had honey roasted almonds like a normal person.
No. See, we went to the store. I went to the Battle Garden, and all my friends were like, "You have to like bring food, Elaine, because we're not going to be able to eat. You need substance." And I was like, "I got this." And I brought like a bag of chopped up pickles because I love pickles. And ever since then, it's been like a thing. So now when I go to an event, like it's like, I feel like I'm jinxing myself if I don't eat pickles, and I always scrub out if I don't eat them. So now I always have something pickled flavored, actual pickles.
They sell bags of chopped up pickles?
Yes, and they also sell them spicy. But this is off topic now.
Yeah, no, this needed to be cleared up because honestly, God, like if I was queued up against someone across the table who just like opens up a Ziploc and starts rocking gherkins like the whole freaking way, I'd be like, "Yeah, you know what? I don't need a PTI. I don't need a Pro Tour invite that much. It's all good. No problem."
Yesterday I played in the Pro Quest, and I actually had Pringles because I was wearing a hoodie. I had Pringles in my hoodie pocket, a fruit roll up, and I sat down against my friend Brennan. He was playing Chain. Well, we're not friends. Well, anyways, eating an ice cream sandwich, and I said, "Can I just eat this while we play?" And he said, "Yeah, I don't care." So I put it on top of my deck box. And I just ate my ice cream sandwich as I was playing.
Yeah.
It's just like this.
Please double sleeve your cards. I got chocolate icing on Kano deck one time because I was eating cake while playing.
Oh my God. Like, it's
that
just...
was before Texas Elaine. I was trying to learn Kano, but I got cake all over the Kano deck. So double sleeve your cards.
All right, double sleeve and then Scotch guard them, for Christ's sake. Because, like, honest to God, if I ever like queued up against you guys, you have this entire freaking buffet going on. Like, there's, like, I just picture sitting across from Carolina, and she's just got like she's like doing like there's a spit, and she's just like rotating it. She's like, "Hold on." She's like, there's like a rotisserie chicken there and stuff. Like, I don't know. Maybe listen.
And I will do it.
Hey, if
that's actually something I would do.
If that's the theme, if it's like barbecue and cards, I'm there. Don't get me wrong. But like oftentimes I'm like, we limit it to finger foods of like stuff that's not gonna. I don't want to go home with pickle smell on my Okanold. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Hey, I was using a fork fork when I was eating the cake. That's the most impressive
That's
part.
fine.
I
I'm all right
wasn't
with that.
eating with my hands, and I
Nah,
still
I
did
should
it.
straight up raw dog and pickles.
I'm just talented.
Oh my god. If I get a telescope, I can see the rails because we are so off of them right now. But Chalice, let's go back to you and just talk about what we launched off, which was essentially part of like, you know, the fan interaction and etiquette and such, and some of the experiences perhaps that you've had. And I also want to get, you know, advice for people because listen, I at the event, at the Pro Tour, I had interactions with people where, you know, you put on a nice face, you say that, but like eventually they just throw out some stuff where it's like, dude, you just don't say this to people. Like, you know, you don't, this isn't first time conversations. And I want also, maybe you can kind of just toss out some advice for people who might be curious about how to approach a cosplayer, and things just like some no-nos as well, because there's so many that just fly over the radar.
Absolutely, I would be happy to. It's hard because it's a really magical moment for both the cosplayer and anyone attending who sings like their favorite character or favorite cosplayer, and that's a nice moment that you want to enjoy with someone. But there are some things people can do which might be, I don't know, 99% of the time, I know people are being like not like malicious with their intentions. They might just not be aware. So a lot of the times, if you see a cosplayer sitting down or especially eating or drinking something, I personally wouldn't advise approaching them. They're probably having like a 5-minute break. Out of character, you could say. I would stay clear of that just to give them like a break. I've been like sitting down like on the floor, like taking my shoes off, like I'm done, I'm KO'd, and someone will come over and say, "Hey, can I take a picture?" And it's really hard to say no to people, but I feel like that's as obvious as you can get about like, hey, I'm really not in the mood to take a picture right now. So that's my biggest one, I would say, and that's kind of like a unsaid rule, because a lot of the time cosplayers probably won't say no, because they want to have a nice experience with fans. But I feel like reading body language is quite important, and just like I don't know, sometimes you get people who I have no idea what is possessing them to ask like really personal questions. Sometimes it's interest in like the costume, but like asking really like intimate questions about like body type, diet, like are you wearing anything under that? You know, things like this. This is I'm not going to defend questions like that. I don't know what people gain to hear a response from that person. Those are just some of my ones I've heard.
Coming off of that, I'm like, I have like 2 main rules, I would say, that are pretty good to just follow when interacting with any person, not just cosplayers. And number 1, don't be creepy. Number 2, don't be rude. You know, sometimes someone with a cosplay or costume or makeup, people have different skill sets. So maybe their skill is in crafting the clothes. Maybe they're amazing with a sewing machine and with the foam and all of that. And maybe their makeup isn't like what you would have done if you had done a cosplay. But guess what? You didn't do it. They did it. It's like when you see a piece of art and you're like, well, I could have made that and I could have done it better. Well, guess what? You didn't. So don't critique it. Don't ever come up to someone and be like, oh, well, like this part doesn't like match the card. Because maybe they weren't even trying to match the card. So yeah, and don't be creepy. Don't be creepy.
And if you're going to critique something, don't do it in front of, like, don't tell me.
Yeah.
Do it when you're home. Like, just do that later.
I feel like definitely there's a certain element where exactly there's a time and place. And look, the Rachel rule of just don't be creepy. Like, let's just get real. That's just basically like you should have to sign a contract when you apply for a passport. Like, you need to have a contract that you sign with the government saying I choose not, or I vow not to be creepy. But like you're all out there with your cosplay because you're out there to show off the cosplay and to celebrate the game and to just sort of, because it's a hobby as well as something that you enjoy. Much like this is this is a career for me, but it's a hobby as well. I consider them one and the same, but ultimately, you're right. There are certain times where it's like, yeah, I'm here because I want people to see the fruits of my labor, to see my passion, in front of your eyes and whatnot. But like, again, the some of the stuff, like when people come up to me and will tell me like, I could do what you do, I'm like, so then do it. I ain't stopping you. Like, just do it. You know, like what the hell? Like like this isn't the only microphone in existence. Like the internet is not. I don't own it. So go do whatever the hell you want. Like, I'm totally okay with constructive criticism and feedback. But when it's done maliciously, when it's done from a position of that, like I feel like that falls under the Rachel clause of don't be a douchebag. Like that just seems like a good point in that regard.
Under the don't be creepy, it's not only verbally. When you're going to take a photo, some cosplayers, they might put their armor on you, and that's fine. I would say stick to the same rule of how you would take a photo with a coworker. You don't want HR to get involved. Don't make it weird when you take photos with cosplayers. Don't make it weird. I don't feel like I need to say more than that. Don't be.
I'm not uncomfortable with like a lot of things. Like I'm very comfortable with a lot of things, but I am not comfortable with so many strangers coming up to me and like putting their hand around my waist, or like I'm just not comfortable with that. I do like that they like if you ask, okay, maybe, but the hover is fine.
Yeah, definitely.
The Keanu hover, yeah.
all my poses were like arms out like this, so it's like, you stand there.
I put my swords
Yeah,
out
I'm
like this. I'm like,
this is how I'm standing.
Yeah, social distancing.
It's just like basic respect. Like this is still a person. Just remember that. Not a character. This is not a character. This is a person that you are taking a photo with.
I'm alone in my art card. Don't say anything.
With the swords.
Awesome. Well, this has been very enlightening. I sincerely appreciate this. We do have one more segment. It's called Go Again. Now, there's 4 of you. So this might be a relatively extended one because I got to get 4 times 8 questions answered. So we're going to be brief with it, but
Ninja edition.
Damn right. Exactly. Lots of Go Again, lots of quick and nasty ninja slice Kadachi style. So don't go too far. We got a BCW product commercial ad kind of thing. So we'll get that out of the way and we'll be right back with our cosplayers. The Instant Speed Podcast is always brought to you by BCW Supplies, a wonderful place to go get all of your gaming accessories, your tabletop accessories that you need. Hey, you need sleeves? Awesome deck boxes? I got all of mine from BCW. So you can go to bcwsupplies.com, use the code ISP10, get 10% off all of your purchases. Maybe you're into coin collecting. How about you have vinyls that you want to protect or comic books that you want to display? You can go to bcwsupplies.com, use the code ISP10, get all the cool stuff. Binders, those tubes to bring your playmats, and there's so many awesome playmats out there. You want to protect them, so get that done. bcwsupplies.com, code ISP10. Help the podcast, protect your stuff, store, protect, display, BCW Supplies. All right, this is the Go Again segment as we come off of a break where you will not see that, not even in the director's comments, because there were some exceptional things that were said in that break.
Some of the bloopers. They're cute.
There will be. When I'm ready to end my career, I will absolutely release all the B-roll from these interviews.
From just this episode.
This episode, yeah. No, this episode is like, oh, you wanted to end your career today. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. All right, so this is the Go Again segment. We've got 4 wonderful people here, amazing cosplayers from the Flesh and Blood community. All right, so if you're ready for Go Again, hit me up with that heart emoji. Let's go. If you're ready. Bam! Got him. All right, let's go. Number 1, and we're going to go around the horn here. We're going to start with you, Carolina, but everyone's going to answer these. Let's be brief. Let's be awesome. Carolina, what is your hidden talent?
My hidden talent is that I can put my shoulder over my head.
Your shoulder?
Your shoulder?
Ah!
Like that, I guess.
Okay.
And then I can put like that.
Okay. All right. So some weird...
I'm an acrobat, bro.
I was going to say, and a chiropractor's dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The rating on this episode just went up. Chalice, how about yourself?
Well, it's a talent that I keep. A talent that I keep hidden. I'm a black belt in Kuxel 1, which is a Korean martial art.
Nice. So when those people are like, when the shoes are off and you're you're having a piece of pizza and they're like, "Can I get a picture?" And you're like, "No." They're like, "Come on."
No.
Yeah, just Lord of Wind, God, just completely just destroy him. I like it. Elaine, besides being able to pick the exact region of from where the pickles were harvested, what is your hidden talent?
I'm also an aerialist, Carolina. I minored in it in college. So yeah, woohoo!
That's a college minor?
Yeah,
That's a
I
thing?
minored. It's physical theater was my minor.
That's a thing?
It's a thing.
Carolina, you could have been like PhD by now. Like if that
Yeah.
was,
I might.
I learned something new today.
for sure.
I did not know that was a thing.
Dr.
Yeah,
Alvarado.
Alvarado.
Alvarado with the PhD. How about you, Rachel?
Nothing nearly as exciting as that. I mean, I did ballet for like 16 years and can dance on point, but I also was a barista, so I can tell the roast of a coffee bean by how the coffee tastes.
Wow.
Wow.
Dig it. All right, that's a talent I wish I had. I mean, I worked as a barista for a little while, but I don't think I've got that kind of palate. So good.
I can't do latte art for shit, so there's that.
Hey, it's a cloud. Yeah.
Just be a pretentious coffee snob if you.
Do you put the thing where you do the stencil and then put like the cocoa on top?
Oh yeah, I mean, but that's like anyone could do that.
I can't.
Oh, called out. Next one. This one's from Andrea Biaggi, aka Capello, asking, when I do cosplay, I try to buy items such as a jacket, a hat, etc., that resemble the real thing because I'm not very crafty. In a typical case, how much of your cosplays are usually built from scratch, from fabric, etc., versus buying them? So let's start. Let's go reverse order. Let's go start with you, Rachel. I mean, we saw yours. Yours was pretty much. A lot of that was a nice mix of purchase things and a hell of a lot of craftiness.
Well, thank you. I have to say it really just depends on the cosplay itself. If you have some like for example, like Levia is a lot easier, or Levia, I don't know. I always said Levia, but apparently I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not alone in that. Something like that is a lot easier to thrift when it's closer to like normal clothes. But when you're looking at other characters, like for example, like adult Lexi's boots, like you're not going to be able to walk into like Macy's and buy those. That's not feasible. Or like the Exude Confidence swords, like you can't just like go to like Walmart and buy those. So it really, I think, just depends.
My swords were ruined by TSA. Okay, so if somebody says that they were bad swords, yes, I know they were bad swords. They were ruined.
I didn't think they were bad, but anyway, screw the TSA in general. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I'd like to travel again. So the TSA are A-okay in my books.
I have checked, but they are still annoying. But anyway, yeah, it just depends. It really can vary a lot, I'd say, between costumes.
Anyone else want to chime in on this one?
Go.
I would say that like usually I try and find like, oh, okay, I need a dress for this. Oh, okay, I need like a top and a skirt for this. Oh, I need like different. I break it down and then I try and find like pieces that are like that base piece in like whatever color I'm looking for. And then I usually end up like ripping it apart or like adding stuff to it. And like just, I find like the basics and then add to it. So like maybe like 30-70% is
like a good foundation to like build upon, because it's a lot easier to alter something than to like build like the structure of like a gown from scratch.
Yeah, from scratch.
That's why couture designers have jobs, because they are able to make those amazing silhouettes and stuff. Like it's not so easy to build clothes from scratch that actually will fall right when you put it on. So yeah, it's kind of.
Every single piece of my costume, except for my gloves, because I was too lazy to make those, I made myself. I made from scratch, but that's mostly because I was on a tight budget. And if I were to pay somebody to make me that costume, yeah, I'd be like, it'd be accurate, but I'd still, one, have to wait 3 months to get it. Mm-hmm. 2, have to pay double what I used. And I was not going to find anything that I liked in the store, anything. So
I feel like that's a specific silhouette to get on the Exude Confidence. Like that dress is not going to be something that's like easy to buy.
So I actually made it a bodysuit, and then my belt had the skirt in the front, like the loincloth in the front, and then I attached a skirt to the bodysuit.
Nice.
Also, you called your gloves lazy, but like no part of that costume was lazy. You killed it. I just want to say that.
Thank you.
I like it. Next question. What character are you dying to cosplay, but you just can't either get it right or you're just not ready for that kind of venture? Let's go with Chalice first.
So for me, it would be Adult Prism. I said I was going to cosplay Adult Prism at some point. It's kind of on the back burner for a little bit. It's crazy. It's physics defying. I will need to sit down and think about it some more before I attempt it. But sometime in the future, maybe.
Yeah, maybe like you don't necessarily have the conjuring of illusions as one of in your skill set just yet, but you can get there. How about yourself, Carolina?
Chain.
That's not a bad one at all. That's that you got to get. First of all, you got to get moody. You got to get really like slam on some My Chemical Romance, just like brood a little bit.
Back to my 15-year-old emo phase, I'll be fine. But I really want to do chain. Really, like, I don't know if I want to do actual chain. I have to like mess up my hairline, but I kind of want to do like gender bent chain, if that makes sense. Only thing stopping me is like putting it together is going to stop me. Basically, he has a weird silhouette, a weird everything. So yeah, I'd also need my hair to be a little longer.
You got time for that.
Yeah.
Elaine?
We're just me. Buy 5 wigs.
True.
And staple them directly to your skull.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Hot glue along the chin.
Perfect. Yeah.
I did not do that.
Oh my God.
Let me just say this again. I did not glue my face. Don't do that.
No.
That's a terrible idea.
Don't do it.
Anyway.
The class action lawsuit against the Instant Speed podcast is going to be quite long. So I just letting everyone know I have no money. So it's
the Instant Speed v Hot Glue case is going to be.
Oh yeah! Right after Amber Heard Johnny Depp wraps up, that's going to be the next one. It's going to be on the stand. And
Walmart's going to be like, we don't want to be involved.
Exactly. Please, no more. And Dremel and pickles and everything.
Can we get a counter of like how many times we say the word Walmart?
We could at the end. Producer, it's either Ailey or Mark. One of you two, please jam it out there easily.
It's my request from my heart. I want it in the corner.
Yeah.
A Walmart counter.
Walmart.
Yeah, I'm gonna send him a bill too. Hey, doofuses! I know you and your exactly your 2-bit operation you guys like to call Walmart. Send me some money, you clowns. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. All right, Elaine, how about yourself?
Wildest dreams would be adult Levia. Like if I could figure it out, I'd do it because it would be the coolest thing ever. But the task is way up there.
Well, to be fair, she does look like she did put hot glue all over herself and is screaming in agony. Wow. So you got the inspiration down. Rachel?
Listen.
It's not necessarily like that there's one specific one that I'm like, oh, I just like can't figure that out. It's just that there's so many. Like I'm just gonna flash my camera roll really quick of just like I've saved all of these, like they're not even all heroes. They're like other random cards. There's just so many, like I said, all of this art is so beautiful. There's several people that I yell at David all the time. I'm like, why is this not a hero? And he's like, I don't know. I don't work for LSS. And I'm like, make it happen. And like, why is it not? Like, there's so many like cards because there's repeating characters that you'll see on several cards. And I'm like, maybe they're going to be heroes down the line. I don't know. I hope so because that would be really cool. If anyone from LSS is listening, which they probably are, do that.
I'm not an illusionist player. But oh my God, all of the art on those cards.
This one.
Absolutely.
Why is this not a hero?
Oh, so
James
good.
White. Listen to me, James White. Why is
Listen to me. James White, if you're here.
If you're listening.
James does tell me that. Yeah, James does tell me that the LSS office does listen to Instant Speed. So
well, all of you listen here. I have a camera roll full of cards that I want to be heroes.
It's Valiant Thrust. I think the one She's got like hot pink hair. I love that one. I would like to do that one.
There's some good ones. Next.
Female brute. Anyway.
Make her playable right now.
Where I can't
see it.
Yeah, for those who are getting this on Spotify.
Right now.
All right, next question from Derek
Oh, yeah,
Oswald.
people not watching the video are like, what's happening?
Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of questions about this. I will say, friends, if you're listening to this, the audio version, first of all, thank you. Leave a 5-star review and tell Walmart to sponsor us. Other than that, you can go check this out on youtube.com/983media and get all the fun aspect. This is a visual episode, definitely. Absolutely a visual episode. Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah.
Get that self promo. Check out, subscribe. Remember to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Use the code Flake5. Get 5% off your G Fuel, all that other stuff. Slam that thing.
Ring that bell.
No, I don't do that garbage. That ain't me. I don't have thumbnails where it looks like I just saw somebody eat their own head. It's like, oh, yeah.
Free iPhone 5.
No, none of that garbage. All right, hold on. I'm locating the rails again. We were way off. Next up from Derek Oswald, aka Charmer, a wonderful caster, by the way, a Legends of Runeterra caster, also a phenomenal human being, asks, have any of you ever considered taking a known character but adding a twist to envision them differently? Now, Rachel, you're already way in the lead on this one. Something like Light Levia or Shadow Prism could be fun play on some of the characters. Have you ever thought about taking a different take on this? And for instance, you right now, Carolina mentioned you wanted to do like a gender bending chain, and so that's already a good idea. But how about let's go with you, Chalice? Have you ever thought about maybe trying something a little bit different?
Yes, I would love to see. This isn't like a type change, but more of like a personality change. I would love to see Evil Bravo.
Oh, that's so good.
I feel like he's a man of the people. Everyone love him. So how about he takes advantage of that? Yeah, and takes advantage of the people because of his good charms. He uses it for evil. That's just my headcanon.
I believe that's just Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
Exactly.
It looks like that anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. I need to make a video of just me and all my names for all the characters. We got Gaston, we got Prince Zuko, you know.
Yeah.
We got a lot going on there. I don't want to spoiler too many because maybe
in
I
my
will.
personal lore, Starvo is Evil Bravo. Okay? Listen. He was a good little boy, okay? And then he became the ringmaster. And the ringmaster is always evil. Okay? Okay?
I mean, you have the experience of like the circus and Ariel's life. So if anyone knows the inside out, like the behind.
Except for my mother, I have to put that. She's gonna watch this. So except for my mother, you heard that? Okay.
Okay.
We love moms.
Mama Alvarado, todo está bien. Okay, there's nothing wrong. Let's just all be. Okay, so I'm trying to reach out to the people. Ma Alvarado. Everything's great.
Audrey, if you want to say.
Shout out.
Hello, Audrey. Shout out to
mom.
Audrey, to everyone's mom.
Shout out to mom.
Moms everywhere. This is the mother episode right now. Wow, we are just.
Wow, love you, mom.
Okay, last one. We'll go. Elaine, any envisionments of different takes of particular heroes?
Yeah. I would love to see like an ice warrior or like a cross between like a mechanologist or a warrior. I've thought about doing that, or like a hero. So when I like play the game and I suit up my armor, I always imagine like my hero actually suiting up in the armor that I picked. So I've thought about like doing like a hero, but like actually wearing like their traditional like armor that you actually like the card armor that you play with. But yeah, quick response. Yep.
I dig it. Sweet. We've lost Rachel. Rachel is either hurting the dogs or the dogs are hurting her. One of the two. Nice.
He decided to scream, and I had to go catch him because he was running around just bellowing. My apologies.
No worries. We love our furry friends on this show. Next question. This one's from Alex Enslow asking.
Dude, I didn't get to say my part.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Listen.
You skipped me because you were like, I told him. I know he's great, but I was like, maybe I have other ideas.
Hit me with them. Because listen, I had you pegged as already the poster child of it reimagining things because you showed up with like an Oldham with like fishnet stockings, and I was like,
I looked everywhere for white fishnets. I wanted white fishnets, but time.
Yeah.
Right. No, there's like a bunch that I thought of. Hobie, I swear to God. Anyway, there's a bunch I've seen. I mean, obviously, fashion fan over here, modeling and styling and all of that. And there's specifically Lexi, because she's my girl. I think like a street style modern version of her would be very, very cool. I saw these sneakers that I was like, oh, she would totally wear those. They were like high top, chunky, pink and blue, like, I don't even know. They were by Steve Madden. Shout out to Steve Madden.
Shout out Steve
Hire me, I
Madden.
like your shoes.
Yeah, he definitely listens to this podcast.
Sponsors.
Yeah,
Steve
for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But there's like a lot of cool takes of several characters that I think could be done in that way. But I mean, I specifically would be looking at Lexi because, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But
I like it.
for anyone listening to the audio, I just mimicked a really shitty bow.
I like it. I like it. All right, next question from Alex Enslow asking to everybody, who are your favorite Flesh and Blood characters, playable or otherwise? We've all played the game, right? So everyone's got a favorite. How about yourself, Carolina?
I'm a Dash main. Okay, I am a Dash main. That is my favorite. It's my favorite deck. It's my favorite hero. I love Dash. I love Dash.
All right, Carolina loves Dash. It has been confirmed here officially. Chalice, how about yourself?
I gotta go with my girl Azalea. She's my fave. Can we please have some more Azalea supporting the Uprising? Thank you very much.
That has been a conversation for every podcast. I think Red Zone Rogue has his own kind of like petition that he's pushed forward. Elaine, how about yourself?
Dorinthia. I love Warrior, Kasai, Bolton, Dorinthia. I play them all. I don't play them all at competitive competitions because it's not the best move, but like I'm a Warrior player at heart, and Dorinthia is my fave. I learned on her, so.
Sweet. How about yourself, Rachel? I was going to say, Rachel's, there we go.
I was unmuting myself because the dogs, there's so many dogs. Best character in Flesh and Blood is James White. Have you seen that pop collar, man? Like, come on.
Rachel's taking the best opportunity here to just like use me as a conduit. Use this show as just a direct line straight to James.
Wait,
She heard that LSS listened and she was like,
on Twitter. James and I, you know, Jimmy, my boy Jimmy. I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, he actually does have a really great card. I don't know if you guys got your hands on it of the gift that someone have it
here. I have it here.
Mine's over there.
For the people watching the video, check it out on YouTube. If you're not watching it on YouTube, go listen to the entire podcast again, but this time with video. But he had a Blizzard card that his creative team made for him. I thought that was really great.
No way.
Other than that, though, I mean, there we go. There's a photo of it.
Sorry, my iPhone storage is full. You might have saw that notification.
Fun fact about that card. Well, fun fact, I say. A lot of people were showing me that, saying, I think this is the fourth hero. I'm like, dude, that's just art of James. And they're like...
He said it was his birthday present.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to like throw you all off the scent here of what the fourth hero may or may not be, or if there even is one, but that's not it. That's
James White.
Yeah, I'm like, imagine like it might as well just be his passport photo. I'd be like, is this the fourth hero? No, it's not the fourth hero.
No, that's James.
We asked him, we were like, are you gonna make this a playable hero? And he was like, really think about it.
Well, he did this first. Call her up. Yeah,
LSS is watching this. Okay, listen.
The Rudy card, though.
The Rudy card. Please stop. I need mech support. Okay, look at me in my eyes. Okay, I need Darvo, Dash, Starvo, star of the show, inventor, overlord. Okay. Listen, I need that ball that she's holding in her card art to be a weapon, and the text literally says "Action, cost 4, win the game." Okay.
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna be. Go again.
That'll never ever get any kind of backlash. Have you heard of something called what's it called? Reddit? Yeah, you will be like that is just torn asunder by that whole.
I just learned today that there's a Flesh and Blood Reddit.
I'm searching desperately for this one card that I can't remember what it is called, but it's this ice dude, it's an ice arrow, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's an ice guy holding an arrow like this, and it's like Ice Levine, something.
Chilling
like
Ice Vein?
Chilling Ice Vein.
Chilling it, yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, I am a noob. But anyway, he looks so cool. I think we need a male archer, first of all, because I think that would be cool to kind of round out the scope.
Yeah.
And he should be an exclusive ice dude, not just elemental. I think he needs to be just ice and be super annoying to play against. And I think it would be a lot of fun if every time specifically an arrow attack hit, that it would create a frostbite token against your opposing hero. Not all attacks, specifically just his arrows. And maybe give him some weird kind of bow that makes his arrows more difficult to shoot, but if they do hit, he gets to make your life really annoying. You can have that idea for free. Yes, you're welcome.
Broken heroes. Confirmed.
All right, perfect. This concludes the R&D portion of the show. The research and development all rolled into one. You're welcome, LSS. Thanks. Yeah, the next draftable set is going to be called the ISP debacle set. That's basically what it's going to be. All right, three more questions. Can we handle this, ladies? I think we can get through this. Yeah, this is already the longest episode of life, but we're going to get through it because it has been quality content. Next one is from Az of Go Again Gaming. Az is an awesome human being. Cheers to you, Az. First of all, well done on all of your hard work with bringing these awesome characters and cards to life in the flesh and blood. Second, what class hero would you like to see added to Flesh and Blood? What classic fantasy archetype are they missing? Now, you guys have already talked about stuff like we have the super archer dude who makes your life a living hell. We have Carolina, who invented a card that it's like cost 1, win the game, starts in your hand, and flip off your opponent when you're done. Yeah, but I want to hear about it. It doesn't even have to be something that already exists in terms of like, or it doesn't even have to be a class that's in the lore book. Like, why can't
Raise my hand.
Jedi? Yeah, well, this isn't a classroom, so I will immediately dismiss that. That's no problem. If I could high five you through the internet, I would. But that's not how this works, Rachel. That ain't how it works. We did do it. But we're gonna start with Elaine. Elaine, any kind of fantasy archetype or class that doesn't exist that would just totally get you on board.
A mermaid, yeah.
A mermaid, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So,
or a fairy. I just want like more cute women, mermaid, fairy. Like that's so cute. I would love it.
What about mermen?
Okay,
No.
we can do it, but it doesn't make me as
We're not gonna like
excited.
it.
Yeah, we're not gonna like it. If you make a mermaid, LSS, I will cosplay it. Or a fairy.
Again, I need to remind everyone, this isn't like 1-800-CALL-LSS. Like, that's not what this show is.
We're like, this is what we want.
Yeah, I'm clearly seeing why everyone said yes to be on this program right now. Because this apparently is like...
This is polite.
Yeah.
We're over here making demands.
I'm asking the questions the community wants to know.
I brought a list.
Yeah, no shit. You guys showed up with this grocery list of things that you're like pissed off about. And another thing's James White. Why'd you have to cut your hair? What the F, man?
Okay. One more thing to not do to cosplayers, because I witnessed this happen to James White. I'm gonna say at Matt. I don't know if he has any kind of public persona. He asked James White for a lock of his hair, and James White laughed. But I was also like, bro. Yeah,
no.
No.
But
I want to shout him out for being weird. Don't do that to people.
Called out.
Big time called out.
You just called him out.
I did, and he's gonna love it.
Chalice, please. Chalice, rescue us.
Yes.
Rescue us, please.
Yeah.
I need mech sup.
Support.
No, Carolina's just like, I need mech. What's up? I need mech sup. Let's go. All right, Chalice,
Yes.
rescue us. Take us back down to earth.
Yeah. I would love to see a warlock class. I would like to see using tokens more, so like summoning like some sort of like imp or something. Get maybe more like minions on the board. I think that could be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like permanence. Like this is when they kept talking about Necromancer, I thought it would be a cool thing where the hero ability was like pay 3 to create, to like banish banish an attack out of your graveyard, and then create like a three attack token that dies at the end of the turn and has go again, like something like that. Like I think you're right, like something that's permanent on the board. We're gonna get that with dragons. Like the dragons will be permanents on the board, much like Ursa and whatever. Carolina, you already said that you want the equivalent of like Jesus Christ Superstar in a mechanologist costume that shoots laser beams out of his eyes and like calls in tactical nuclear strikes for one resource. But
David Bowie as art.
Yeah, no, but within the realm of reality, can we just keep it within that framework? Not saying I don't appreciate
mermaids. Mermaids are fairies.
Piggybacking off the mermaids, any kind of like chimera. I don't know how to say that word either. Chimeras. I don't know how to speak my own native language, but any kind of like human hybrid. Like I know we've got the dragons coming, but I'm like, what if they had made a human dragon, like half-blood kind of thing?
Like a centaur or a mermaid.
Yeah, or like anything like that. And I know we have Taylor, who's like a shapeshifter, but like, what if we had someone that was not Professor McGonagall, because I don't want just a cat, but maybe someone who could like turn into a griffin or something, and they have some kind of weird, funky ability. Anything like that, I would cosplay. Once again,
make it and I'll cosplay it.
Okay, but really, an entire set just based off of fairy tale lore would be absolutely amazing. Just fairy tale lore in general for like specific fairy tale-esque heroes. Yes.
I know you like like mech stuff, so, and I'm not telling LSS to steal intellectual property, but I am going to tell them to go read this book series called the Lunar Chronicles, which is all classic fairy tales, but taken in a sci-fi manner. Like, for example, Cinderella's a cyborg, and she loses her foot. So just if they need inspiration, not plagiarism.
Yeah, no, they're gonna need to read that. So they need to acquire that kind of those sources. I will
send them the books if they want it.
Send them the books and the names and the names of some good lawyers for when the inevitable lawsuits start rolling in.
It's a good book series, though. All jokes aside, if you like any of that, check it out. Especially if you like that stuff. Cyborg Cinderella, man.
Next episode's ad portion is going to be loaded with Dremel and pickles and all this other stuff.
I don't know who the author is, but whoever they are, shout out to them. I love those books.
Whoever you are, we're stealing your shit. So get
a natural like fairy tale theme would be a natural like way to go. You know, we've already done like Carnival and stuff like what?
I just had an idea. Take Azalea, make a Red Riding Hood version of her.
It's over.
Boom.
We did it. We did it.
Sold.
We did it.
Oh, wait. I just got a phone call. It's James White. I just got a call from James White. He's like, I didn't even have to listen to the recorded episode. I heard it live. So there we go. And James also, and I'm fired. Okay. Noted. Perfect. Thank you. All right, 2 more questions. We're doing it, ladies. We're getting through this. Next one. This one from Brian Basoko asking, what is the average cost of one of your cosplays and how much time goes into creating one? We did kind of dig into this, in more depth earlier, but let's just say your most recent cosplays, what was the cost and the time involved in it? Let's go with Rachel first.
A lot.
Is that a lot in US dollars or Canadian dollars? Yeah.
For me, obviously, timeline for my granddaddy of eternity was not super long. It was probably about 4 hours, like we said earlier. I'm trying to think how much I spent. It was definitely still over $100, but I think less than $200 for that one. And my cape was a tablecloth that cost $1.50. So that is not a reasonable price. Most of these cosplays, especially like high effort ones, are gonna be in a couple $100 range if like you're spending a long time on it. And that's not even accounting your time. That's just the supplies and the tools, like you said, like the Dremel and all of that. those tools, it all adds up. Yeah, Dremel, Walmart. What else did we need to mention?
I don't have I don't
Pickles.
I don't know.
Pickles. Yeah, but I hate pickles. So
perfect. Screw 'em.
That's blasphemy.
But yeah, so any kind of, and those tools can be expensive. You know, you have to pour hot glue all over yourself like Elaine, and then you have to go to urgent care, and it's like a whole thing.
It's like a whole thing.
Okay, so the other thing you have to take out of this is you need good health insurance as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
In all reality, though, your time is the most expensive part of it. If you're going to go into it. Because you can get pretty crafty. You can thrift, you can shop the clearance section, you can watch sales online, you can get coupons, you can do all of these things, but that's just more time than, so it becomes a balance of like time versus money. How much are you gonna pay for it to already be done? Like we said, you could commission an outfit from someone. And yeah, you still have to wait for them to make it, but that saves you time. So it's a back and forth on that. But I'd say over $200 for any kind of hardcore cosplay is on the low end for some of these costumes.
Sounds good. Elaine?
I'd say like $200, $250 what I spent on my cosplay. I spent 12 hours making the actual cosplay, and then every single day that I put it on, all 3 days, spent an additional 2 hours doing the makeup. So
nice. And Chalice, how about yourself?
Gosh, I think everyone else has got a pretty good average, which I agree with. I think I don't really keep track of how long I take to make stuff. I just do it whenever I'm free, and I also don't track how much money I spend because I don't want to know. But a couple hundred, and under 100 hours, more than 10, I would say. I know that's quite a large ballpark.
How about yourself, Carolina?
I definitely didn't track. I do know that my credit card did max out quite a few times. But if I had to actually put it together, because I was supposed to do the math last week and I didn't, was averaging out almost 500. I did have to buy a heat gun. I had to buy 2 Dremels. I had to buy an insane amount of foam, and foam is so expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive. Yeah. And if I were to do what I was going to actually do with my swords was coat it in Warbler. A roll of Warbler is almost $200.
Yeah.
So it could have been double what it was supposed to be. But, you know.
I mean, I did some external research as well, just as I was prepping for like future costumes that I have planned for Flesh and Blood and other events. And the average that most professional cosplayers gave was around $500 for their costumes. And those are people who already own the equipment to make all of these things. So they're not having to buy a hot glue gun every time. They're not having to buy a Dremel. They're not having to buy a sewing machine. They've done all those upfront, like kind of overhead costs, if you will. And it's still costing them $500 in materials, and that's before factoring in if you were to price out their time. So
Also,
it's not
thing
inexpensive.
is glue. Glue is so expensive.
You
just put it all over yourself.
Yeah, I was
anyway.
gonna say, especially the removable portion. Last question. This one's from Fabled Academy, who does incredible work in terms of documentation of all the events. A wonderful, wonderful human being as well, whom I met and had a great time with. Asking, where do you think the future of cosplay in Flesh and Blood is heading? Now, this is quite open-ended. It's hard to sort of just gauge and be like, well, you know, cosplay seems to always be, and I mean this in the most, you know, respectful way possible. It's kind of like the sideshow to a lot of the events that are out there, right? It's just kind of like the added spice to the main event, which is the gameplay. But it does add so much culture to these events, and it's not going anywhere because people, whether there's a contest or not, people are always going to dress up and they're always going to want to be the characters that they appreciate. They want to show off their skills and all that. But where do you believe the future of cosplay is in Flesh and Blood moving forward? We can start. Yeah, we can go with you, Carolina.
It's going to be very strong if I can help it. Okay, listen, I am going to go to as many events as I can, and I'm not going to win a Taylor. Obviously, I'm going to do it with my own love because I did this one with my own heart and soul. I sacrificed my mental health for it, basically. But I am going to make sure that the cosplay just becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. after every event. I want to see so many people, not just me. I want to see more people cosplay. It'll be so fun. So fun.
I dig it. It is fun.
Yeah.
Chalice?
So first of all, I'm just so happy from the amount of people cosplaying, like more than just you guys here. Like all the pictures I was seeing of people just like making like hats and stuff like in any capacity is amazing. It's like quadrupled since that event. That event was really like the catalyst for a lot of people getting into cosplay. So I think we're going to see a lot more people like creating content, like finding new things they're interested in. I just can't wait to see what's going to come of it, to be honest.
Elaine?
Yeah, I would. Nothing but up from here. Like even at to the moon, even in New Jersey, like there was so many more people in that cosplay contest than I was expecting. But I think we had like, I have no clue the actual number. I would guesstimate like 15 people in there. Don't quote me. I don't know. I didn't count heads. But like there was a lot more than I was expecting. I was expecting like 4 or 5 people, and it was like double, if not triple that. And that was really, really cool to see. And just to be able to talk to people too. Like I know I'm talking to all of you guys right now, but be able to talk to people and be like, oh, what made you want to do this? And it's like for me, like Chalice, like you really inspired me to start cosplaying for this game. And like, I don't know, it's just cool to see like the community grow like that and like inspire each other. So I think it's just going to keep going.
Sweet. Rachel?
I'd love to see more of, and the Exude Confidence was a great example of this, is cosplays of people who aren't necessarily heroes. So we had a great person who was the Ragamuffins hat, and he also did the copper token all in one.
So good.
Super cool. I can't remember his name and I feel very bad about that, but he was awesome, and I just like keep thinking back to that as such a great example. We also had a Herald of Erudition wearing phantasmal footsteps. I love seeing the armor, those kinds of things. It's like really cool because those are all very recognizable cards, even though they're not necessarily a hero. And so more of that I think will be fun. And even if people aren't doing like full-on cosplays, like the first day I went to the event, I just did like a Lexi inspired makeup. I used white on my lashes to give a frosty effect. I did pink and blue like young Lexi. Like those kinds of things are really fun to me too. And so I would love to see more of that. Just kind of that like inspired by, or like Elaine had these amazing sneakers that she painted. I want to shout out to those. She had like everything on there. Like everything. They were super cool. So stuff like that that's not even necessarily like full on I am dressed as this character, I think would be super cool to see more of, like participation from the general community.
I was actually supposed to make a mini skirt made out of like 200 different maximum 0 to 60s. And then I ran out of time. But I wanted to make that mini skirt so bad. So catch me with that mini skirt.
Yeah.
Making it, I swear.
I say those shoes were also, I did in the 2 days I did the cosplay and also painted those shoes and built a deck and got everything ready to leave. I didn't sleep, like I said, but like that was a labor. That was a labor of love. That was so I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I actually saw your tweet about how you finished your cosplay and I almost cried. Because mine was not even close to done, and I'm like, what?
But yeah, all of that kind of stuff, like the makeup, shoes, nails, accessories, or like, I mean, people make their fun like team t-shirts and stuff already, but even like stuff inspired by the characters, I think would be really cool to just make all of these events that much more colorful.
Beauty. Well, listen, everybody here, thank you so much for doing the show, and continue doing what you do. You bring so much joy, honestly, to every event. You just make it so much better. And we'll go around the horn one more time to say some goodbye, some parting shots. Where to catch you out there in the internet verse, whatever you want to call it. What are your coordinates if anybody wants to sort of either see some of your work, if it's out there to be seen, or just to sort of follow you on whatever your socials are. We'll go with you first, Rachel.
All right, well, you can find me pretty much everywhere as Rachel Kate Pope. Rachel is RACHAEL. There's a second A. People try and email me all the time and they forget that second A and can't find me. Find me Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. My website is rachelkpope.com. You can find me pretty much, if you can find that URL, it's probably me. If not, tell me so that I can steal that account from someone on the platform. platform. But yeah, that's the easiest way to find me.
Beauty. Oh, how about yourself, Elaine?
I am E Ham on Tree on everything. That's the letter E. And then my last name is just Ham on Tree. People call me like bacon on bush, pork on shrubbery, if that makes it easy to remember, because it's literally just Ham on Tree. And I also have a new channel coming like very, very soon with Melody Likes. And that's going to be like directed towards women in flesh and blood. So I'm very excited about that.
Wonderful. That's I've been following along in that journey, and that's awesome. So I'm excited to see that take off. And Chalice, I think a lot of people already are well aware of your efforts within the cosplay community. But for those who may just find out about you today, where can they get more Chalice?
So you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all as Miss Chalice. I'm also on TikTok as well, Miss.Chalice.
Beautiful. And Carolina, who has one of the most fun to follow Twitters, where there's just all the heroes you could ever possibly hope, holding a Glock directly between your eyes. Also, not the easiest person to locate when you're finding, like, if you Google like Squirty Mc something face, Uzi Mc cosplay sauce. I don't know what it is, but it was definitely difficult when I was trying to get in touch and round up, like, to herd all the cats, as it were. It was tough to locate Carolina.
Okay. Listen,
You got to do some SEO work. Like, what is that?
Yeah. So tell us where we can find more Carolina.
So, listen.
I'm listening. Let's go.
My Twitter name is Bitchy Velour. That's one of your curse words. Listen, it's not the end, so it doesn't matter. Bitchy Velour, like the fabric. And my handle is Lil Uzi Squirt. Like Lil Uzi Vert, but squirt. I'll put my Instagram there. It's Carolina2Alva. But I'll put it in my bio. I'm also on TikTok, Carolina.Victoria, but the A is X. That's me.
There's so many extra A's and A's that are X's and all kinds of...
The first A.
Hey, listen.
Look, all I want is people to spell my name right, man. It's all I want.
I hear you.
Right.
I mean, it's like the most basic thing, but I mean, like... There's X's that are A's. There's A's that are the extra wedged into the either way. Just find them. You'll find them. You'll find them. It's all good. They're out there.
People will comment on my post, on Facebook, which has my name, and they'll be like, "Nice photo, Rachel," and it's spelled wrong, and I'm like, "It's right there."
Yeah, it's like right there. Just copy paste.
Right there. And that's why I don't like to go on
Control-V.
Facebook, because boomers can't spell, apparently.
Well, if that's the only reason why you're avoiding Facebook, well. Cheers to your naivety in terms of just how terrible of an outlet that place is.
Don't even. My favorite social media, Nextdoor. That's where you get the tea on your neighbors.
I love Nextdoor.
That's another
it's like
podcast.
a neighborhood app.
That's the next podcast. All right. Okay, so this concludes possibly the longest ever thing that we've ever done here at Instant Speed. It was
What's
not
our time?
Oh, we were like cruising past. Listen, I still have to have to record the ads and I have to record the intro and the news segment. And this might come in, clock in at just short of 2 hours, which is when this was sort of being pieced together. I promised my producer, no, like an hour 15. Like that's the max, short and sweet.
Have 4 women.
Yeah,
Listen.
that's on you.
I apologize. Yeah, I'll definitely exploit my Canadiana by forcing the apology on me. Absolutely. All right. It's there for a reason. All right. I'm gonna mute all of you. I gotta end this because I want to eat. Friends, I love you all. Honestly, you're all tremendous human beings, and it was a pleasure to meet all of you whom I did. I know I met Elaine. Everyone else I caught in passing. I saw Rachel. I saw Carolina. I've never met Chalice, but that's yet to come. Friends, thank you so much for listening to the Instant Speed podcast. Don't forget, you're not losing if you're learning. So we'll catch you next time on the show. Be well, be kind. See you later.